are this season a notable number of third-party candidates running for office. Here to talk about the slate and the strategy is Tim McKee, who is the Connecticut spokesman and a national committee member of the Green Party. Tim, thanks for being here.
It's my pleasure.
The Green Party is just one of the third parties that's really exerting its strength this campaign season. Tell us about how you guys are working together, as you mentioned to me earlier.
Well, we've been pulling our resources together, holding joint news conferences, joint events, trying to say that there are a record number of candidates and new political parties out there. The Green Party has run candidates. The Libertarian Party is another party. There's a brand new party called the Connecticut Independent Party, which is running a full slate of constitutional officers. We think that all of these candidates should be included in the debates. They should try to have as much equal coverage in the news business as possible and let the voters decide who are the best candidates, who's the most viable candidates. We just had a primary. Millions and millions of dollars were spent. Only 20% of the public even turned out to vote for him. There's a lot of people who are not satisfied with the Republicans and the Democratic parties. They're looking for new parties, new ideas. Most of the voters in this state are unaffiliated. Mm-hmm. So we think all of these people are up for grabs. No one deserves to have, this is a block of only Democrats and only Republicans. And all we're looking for is really just an equal playing field.
And has your working together, is it working? I mean, are you getting more attention or more access?
Oh, I think so. Well, one of the things that the Green Party and the Libertarian Party did was we went and filed a federal lawsuit against the campaign finance reform laws. Now, what the Democrats and Republicans up at the State House did was make it almost impossible for a third-party candidate or an independent to run for governor. Tom Marsh is a candidate for the Connecticut Independent Party. For the exact same funding that Malloy and the other candidates would have had to get, he would have to go out and collect almost 250,000 valid signatures. Mm-hmm. That's just an impossible hurdle for any candidate to go out and do. Already to get on the ballot, you have to go out in the middle of the summer and collect tens of thousands of signatures. Mm-hmm. And we've done that. We've met those hurdles. And we're just in the ability of saying, look, these are wildly different political perspectives. We think that there should be more voices, more choices.
But there should be, I'm sure you would agree, there should be some, as you term them, hurdles. There should be some barriers that you should have to meet in order to get the funding and to show that you are a viable candidate.
And I think that we're trying to show more and more that we are, as third parties, taking those kinds of roles very seriously. We're trying to be out in the public, raise more money. But again, when you have the legal hurdles out there that the federal judges and others said that's unconstitutional. You just can't make these other parties do things that the Democrats and Republicans aren't having to do. So we're trying to be out there and be very serious and be very let the people decide, well, that's a viable party. That's an idea I can vote for. That's not an idea. The Libertarians and the Greens and the kind of middle-of-the-road independent party all have ideas that the voters should be hearing.
And that are distinct from each other.
Yes, but we're all trying to work together because we realize that with so many people turned off by both Democrats and Republicans, sometimes they take out their frustrations and they join a Tea Party, or they say all the people are crooks. I don't want to participate in these elections. That's why we had a dismal number of young people not voting in this last primary. Mm-hmm. The public is not excited by these elections. Now, we want to grow those kinds of candidates out there and build a system up. We know it's going to take time, but we want to be more and more viable, more and more in the public's eye, saying, why not include these in debates?
So you have, as you mentioned, a record number of candidates who have qualified, right?
Qualified will be on the final ballot, but even in the news coverage, you'll see, here's the Democrat, here's the Republican. These are the only people you really need to talk about, and everybody else is, well, yeah, they might be there, but, these are people that are lawyers and business people. Tom Marsh, for example, he's an elected person, first select person out of Chester. He's a viable person. Cicero Booker, their candidate, is an alderman, an African-American. Why not include him in the debates? Same thing with our congressional candidates. I'll give you a classic example. In the 2nd District, my candidate that I'm working with, Scott Deschaphes, is running. Mm-hmm. He's running against Joe Courtney. 80% of his money comes from outside of his district. Our other opponent in that race is a well-known person, Janet Peckinpah, but she has less than $20,000 in her war chest. They're not going to exclude her. But why not include a third-party candidate who has the serious, credentials?
Well, and if they're on the ballot, I mean, wouldn't your argument be if they're on the ballot, they should be in the debate?
So it's kind of a kind of a catch-22. You need the news coverage. You need to be appearing on shows like this, and you need to raise money at the same time. So if you don't get that news coverage, then people say, well, I haven't heard of you, so why should I include you in the debates? So how do you kind of get through those hurdles?
Right, it's like chicken and the egg.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Tea Party obviously was getting enormous coverage and had enormous popularity. I mean, does that help your cause?
Well, I think that people are frustrated. We see that in people that are turning to the Tea Party. You see so many people who are opposed to the war and other things that are saying, what is our real alternative? I mean, as the Green Party, we're opposed to the war, and we think those kinds of issues should be included in very serious discussions in these debates, not, oh, that person has a nasty ad, that sort of thing. So, if we don't get on talk radio, if we don't get on the shows and stuff, we see discussions amongst people about, some candidate kicked somebody, on a TV ad or something dirty like that. We want to be very serious on our issues.
Now, you also, I completely just lost my train of thought. You have a number of people. How many candidates? You don't know how many candidates that you do have?
Well, they're all different candidates and all different styles. The Independent Party has a full slate of constitutional officers. We're going to be announcing a couple more candidates, as a matter of fact, for Ken Krajewski in the 1st Congressional District, Charlie Pillsbury in the 3rd Congressional District for Congress. We have candidates for the other constitutional officers. It's all a matter of resources. None of us are Greenwich millionaires running in these races. So all of our money is going to be, we've kind of gone a little bit more grassroots in this approach.
I was going to say, and also you have infiltrated all of the races on all the levels, right? Does that help you out?
There'll be third-party candidates that people can look at and choose, all across the political spectrum for state offices. There'll be several candidates for U.S. Senate that'll be independent. There's John Mertens, for example, is the Connecticut for Lieberman Party. That's a very small party and everything, but they have that ballot line. They'll be on the final ballot.
And just one more question. Wouldn't another strategy be maybe if you could have success in some of like the local races or the state races?
Well, we have. Absolutely.
Right?
And that's what, the Independent Party of Connecticut, for example, has a record number of aldermen in Waterbury. Okay. We've elected the first select person in Windham. We've elected people in Hartford, New Haven, New London. We've elected Greens all across the state. Now we're trying to take it to the next level, work together, and say we have a serious message.
Right. Interesting. All right. Well, I appreciate you coming in and telling us a little about it, and we wish you good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Don't forget, if you missed something here on The Real Story, you can now watch it online by going to fox61.com. You can also catch us on YouTube. Thanks so much for watching this week's edition of The Real Story. We'll see you here again next week.